Welcome to Channel AMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side so once about all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now today's video, I would like to take a little bit of discussion in regards to the visa of global talents now, which is not a new visa. It may under potential, I don't know, refurbish, or I don't know what the word I can say, but there's not much to be done in this point of time for Australia, apart from the quota has been decreased from the original 15,000 down to 5,000. Now I want to talk about the global phenomenon, which is the tech war. Now the tech war between USA and China. Now why is it so important? Now you may have seen the news almost every day now, because we must admit that China has been the world manufacturing powerhouse for the last possibly 2 decades. Now, due to the tension between Chinese and the Americans, obviously there is a brokerage and the change of going on where the major tech powerhouse that US wanted to manage and control wanted to pull everything out. Now that's where from what I have observed and all the researchers that I've done, that's how brought in the birth of the global talent visa, where all the major countries, the developed countries, want to attract all of the global talents. Usually they are all tech related. It's either going to be biotech, semiconductor, advanced manufacturing, energy, circular economy, space, aerodynamic, all kind of different technologies to their country. Why? Well, if we look at the modern history of mankind, that whichever the country take over the tech advantages. Now, it's not just their military and defense power, but also the economy, correct? Now, look at the Silicon Valley in USA. Look at all these major tech firms all around the world. How have they formed the nation that they're in? Is becoming very, very prosperous. So I wanted to talk about this global talent visa. Now, it's obviously nowadays because the manufacturing powerhouse of China seems to be the Western world is gonna take away all the manufacturing power away. Now, there's gonna be a lot of talents going around the world, and we can see all the major countries is trying to compete against attracting those global talents into their countries. So for instance, now I've done a similar video previously, but I'd like to do some updates and also include an element that I want to discuss is the post-pandemic effect, whereby we can see all these inflations, we can see all these housing crisis caused around the world, and how that will actually affect the visa category of global talent. Now, first of all, I would like to take you to this website. Now, this is from, as you can see from the top left, it's from the UK government. Now, you see they also offer global talent visa. Now, how is it differ to what we offer in Australia? We'll talk about it later. And the next one is, you can see the flag on the top left, that's Canadian government, and again they are offering global talent. Well, they don't call it visa, but it's a stream under their employment category visa there. And also we can see another one is the US. Now US doesn't call it global talent, but they are call it, well, because it's employment based anyway, employment based for those talent, but they also added in they so-called the national interest waiver. So it's somewhere, let me just Google that. Here we go. You can see all those words, national interest waiver, whereby means what is the national interest currently. Now obviously it's all related to what? Obviously tech sectors and global talents. Now, the first two, the UK ones and the Canadian one, the global talent visa, where they offer, it's more kind of like the employment sponsor visa that we have in Australia, provided those occupation is all in the tech realm or tech sectors. That means it's not a direct permanent residency. So you got to be employed in UK or in Canada. I think it's about 2 years, and there's a different category by ways of the earnings that you have, and then you transfer into a permanent residency. Now, for the US one, the EB2, the employment base, and the NIW, National Interest Waiver, it's a direct permanent residency, so you get a green card straight away. So what we offer in Australia is pretty similar to what the US is actually offering. Now, the only difference is that Australia have compare to Canada, UK, and US is that Australia actually offer very limited spaces, only 5,000. Now, that 5,000, it's including all the family members. So, for example, one global talent got invited, and he or she got a spouse, 2 children. Then basically this application took out 4 spaces out. So that's 4 spaces out of the 5,000 quota. So that, unfortunately, I think all the numbers can actually be added up for Global Talent Australia is about 1,000 or a little bit plus applications per year. Now that's really limited compared to what is being offered in UK, Canada, and USA. Now, there's another new competitor coming in. Now, unfortunately, it's not in English. It's in Japanese. They call it J-Skip, and how they translate it in, what is the skip does mean, and it does have this little form here. It's called Japan's system for special highly skilled professionals. So, well, basically it's for similar, very, very similar to global talent. Now, apart from either giving a permanent residency or employment visa, now this what Japan offer is you get a 5-year visa, similar to what you get for permanent residency. You get special special treats on this visa as well. And traditionally, for employment-based visa in Japan, you actually got to reside in Japan for there's category different ones. So there's 10 years and there's a 5 years one. Now, for this special highly skilled profession, all you need to do is reside in Japan for 1 year. Now, whether or not and there's no other restriction, and you're not required to demonstrate that you can speak Japanese language to a certain degree, and you get a permanent residency in Japan as well. Now, so the only difference between this video and my previous video, I believe that was last year somewhere, is that we added in Japan, because Japan only offer this kind of visa. I think the Prime Minister coined the idea in I think the second quarter of last year, 2023, and only had this scheme out recently, I think late 2023, and it's continued flow in. So it's all similar. It's all looking for tech people, the high tech people with high income. So it's generally the same space in there. So what we are seeing now is the world, a lot of these countries is actually competing on what? Getting all the global talents. Now, why do they want global talents? If we go back to the history, just right after World War II, you can see the 2 major superpowers, for example, the US and the USSR. They are all competing on what? Getting the talents to their nations. And that's where we get Tesla, that's where we get the Einsteins, all these well-known scientists in US, and start developing all the technology. Again, moving onwards, all the nations have been developed with major economic power is based on technology as well. And technology relates to what? Global talents. Now, adding on what we had just been through with the pandemic and what we are being through currently, with the inflation, and that causes all the domestic issues, including the housing crisis, which nation would actually be a better way to go? Now, adding a new competitor, Japan, in. I think currently Japan is actually having a very competitive model or visa. Well, the only disadvantage is that Japan, there's no, it's not, the major language is not English. However, it's not too bad to actually survive or live in Japan. But if we're counting in with the inflations and the housing crisis, now these two things, it does not happen in Japan. Now, the East Asia has the competitive edge after pandemic on getting down of the inflations happening all around the major Western nations, and also doesn't really have that housing crisis issue because the housing market or real estate market is compared much lower in compared to all the increases that's happening in Canada, Australia, and UK. So that's what's actually happening there. Now, how would that actually reform? We don't know. We are heading towards the 1st July. Not too sure how Australian government is going to take approach on the global talent, but we can definitely see what is going to happen, what is actually happening through the global talent visa or programs or stream that has been offered all around the nation, and you see all this coming up. And I don't know how Australia is going to compete against US, UK, Canada, and Japan. Well, hopefully they will come up with a more competitive edge visa category there. Anyway, should you have more question, query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.